everyone, and welcome to another episode of Makersplace and Whale. Here we have
The amazing Perry Cooper.
and Whale. Here we have
I have amazing Perry
Makersplace
Cooper.
and
Me
Whale.
just a moment.
Here we have
I
another
have
episode of
amazing Perry
Makersplace.
Cooper.
Yep. All right. Sorry about that false start. I had an extra tab open. I had our YouTube open, so I was hearing myself. And maybe everybody else is hearing me too. I don't know, but that was rough. Let's start over. So, again, welcome to another episode of Maker's Place and Whale here on Whale FM. We have the amazing Perry Cooper joining us, who is not a first timer here on Whale FM. We have actually had Perry here before to talk about some previous work that he has done, and he is still here in the space creating artwork for us to enjoy, and it just loops around. This is amazing stuff. So Perry is, here creating fantastical imagery and really kind of bringing dreams to life with these animations and these, fantastical colors. And this is something that we've seen him doing for the last almost 3 years, both on his own as he's doing the solo drop, and also he had done some work with late night renders, and so getting to see lots of facets of his work. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Perry. How are you doing today?
Thank you. Very good. Thank you. Yeah, pleased to be here. Pleased to be talking about this. I'm kind of excited to be doing this drop on Makersplace because it's the first kind of solo one I've done for a couple of years, I think, actually. I think the last two drops I had on Makersplace were actually both collaborations. I had the one with Late Night Renders, which we were on here talking together about, with Reed Zimmerman, and then I did a collab with Manchester City Football Club last year, so that was kind of pretty exciting to do that.
That is super exciting, especially for all of the fans that I know are out there, being able to see their favorite club represented in a new way. Like, how fun is that? And as a fan, how fun is that to work with somebody, that you spend a lot of time
It's really cool. I kind of I was speaking to a friend of mine recently saying, before NFTs and this whole Web3, there's no way I would have been doing a pair up with Manchester City Football Club between me and them. It's pretty crazy.
I cannot count on one hand the number of times that I've said things like that, where like this, Web3 space has really opened doors that before weren't even doors, they didn't exist. And now, we get to experience, our fandom and our excitement and, show our support in so many new ways and make those connections.
Definitely.
Like it is much like your work, absolutely magical.
Oh, thank you. I mean, if anyone missed that drop, I'm going to do a bit of shilling.
Yes. We will be.
We actually created physical pieces. So it's Man City and Perry Cooper. That's my logo there, obviously.
Oh my gosh, I think you had a tweet about this the other day, didn't you?
Yeah, because it took a while to get them made. So we had them made and I had it shipped out recently. And this is signed by, you probably can't catch it on the camera, but it's signed by one of their players, Erling Haaland, who's like the top scorer in the Premiership at the moment.
Which is a pretty big deal.
So it's pretty cool that happened. And like I say, no way that would have happened beforehand.
Do you find yourself having those like little fan moments where you're just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this? Like,
it is a bit crazy. Also, like, for me, I did a drop last year on Nifty Gateway that was for charity. We did a Bottles for Ukraine because I did a bunch of it might not. It might come up under me if you go down these lists of projects.
There's some of the bottles.
Yeah, so they're my solo ones, and there's some more solo ones, and these other ones I've been involved with. Here we go, Bottles for Ukraine. So for this one, we basically did it as a charity drop for UNICEF. We raised money for UNICEF because obviously at the time there was, when this all kicked off, all the kids were kids and families trying to leave the country. So I kind of fanboyed out a bit and just contacted all the artists that I love myself and respect, and kind of other kind of trainers and things like that, people that teach 3D in the space that I've always liked. And I reached out to them and asked them. Gave them one of my bottles that I'd done and handed it out to everyone and said, could you do your own interpretation of it, and then we'll sell it and we'll give like 100% to charity. So that's what we did. So this was kind of a fanboy moment for me, because I mean I bought a few of the pieces myself in the end, but you know, there were some really cool pieces that came out of it, some really great artists that gave their time to do it for free.
These are so fun, and I love, the fact that you can make these things so personal. You can find the people that you're excited about and do these types of collaborations. And,
Yeah,
it's such a nice way to do an intro, right? Because here you have something in common, and this is the way I've always talked about, the Web3 space is really like NFTs are magic because I can have this thing and I can find somebody else who has it. Now we immediately have something in common, which is a huge
oh yeah,
barrier breaker because we start there and now we have things to talk about. And that
yeah,
is so fun.
exactly. And you know, this was kind of like a great opportunity. I was trying to present it to people saying, you know, it's a great opportunity to pick up a piece by all these artists that are like, also like Roger Kilimanjaro, who sells for a ton of money. Obviously, you got the one by Shaka Blood, who created Hoppers, Stuza, and you got Semfree Paul. Yeah, a whole bunch of artists in there. Oh yeah, Nogland. I loved. I was the Nogland piece. I was going back and forth. I was with David Ariu. We were fighting it out to try and win that. I think he won it in the end.
How fun. That it's so whimsical. Look at this. Like there's, this little motion in the background. I love it.
Yeah, so it was beautiful that everyone came together, but I'd never done anything like that before, and it was very stressful.
And now you have done it. So the next time
No,
something like that
exactly.
comes
Now I
up,
have
like
done it.
you're like,
I have
look,
done
like
it.
I can point to the thing I've done. So obviously,
Yeah,
it'll
so
be
this was
fine.
great. So actually, Reed, Late Night Renders, he did one of the pieces on here. Obviously, you know, he was one of the first people I asked and said, do you think other people do this as well? There's his one, that Mechanical Madness up there. In
Right
the top
here.
left. Oh no, the
My
yellow one.
Mechanical.
Yeah,
Very
that
nice.
one. Yeah. So yeah, so that was super cool. That was kind of like a way of kind of connecting with lots of other artists and kind of teachers as well in the space that I admire.
How fun. And these are such great representations of so many different art styles, which is really, an inspirational thing if, you're looking at it either as a collector or even another artist going like, well, how can I really make my mark in this space? How can I make a difference? And this, is doing that on so many levels. So
Yeah, I
that
kind of you know, I've been asked to get involved in a few other things before, and I always found if you're given a starting point, like we want everything to be this name or this shape or this XYZ, then that makes it a lot easier. There's a lot less barrier to entry to the artist or designer, whoever. So I was kind of looking at it in the same way as if someone were to come to me, and because you'd be like, oh, I've no idea what to do possibly. But with this, you're saying, look, this is your starting point, you know?
And that's really nice too, because especially when you have such a blank canvas, you're like, well, I don't know if the thing that I want to make is going to fit in with the rest of the things that you're going to end up with. And,
yeah.
you
But
get that.
the fact they're so different is the fact that it makes it work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. These are fabulous.
Yeah. So sorry, we've gone completely off track.
Well, that's okay though, because the journey that we're on is a very exciting one, and one that I think, the community will appreciate, being able to see more of you and what it is that makes you you, because that's really where we were going to start anyway. So this is
Yeah,
a
I
little
guess
preview
so.
to that.
Yeah. This is part of the journey.
It really is. It is. So we see, so far we've seen a lot of art about bottles. And,
Yes.
that seems to be a theme in your art. But tell us, for those who are not familiar with you as an artist, how is it that you got into art? And, the follow-up obviously is the Web3 space. But let's start with the beginning.
Okay. I'll try and give the like abbreviated sort of version, but basically, went to art school out of college in the UK. And in art school, you kind of get to try kind of a few different types of art styles. You can do film and life drawing and product design and all sorts of things. And out of that, I kind of decided I wanted to go into film. So I went to film school. But I kind of had this background in like the technology side. I like tinkering with computers and stuff in the background. And when I went to film school, I ended up kind of going off of like traditional film and more onto digital film, because this was like in the early 2000s. When I first went to film school, they were showing us how to cut film actually with like the razor blade, like actually cut. I thought this is not going to hang around for very long,
Right.
And so then I ended up going on to a digital course, and I actually was doing more and more of the backroom stuff of doing post production and stuff like that, and that's what I enjoyed more. And I actually then ended up getting more interested in doing interactive video and so I would use I picked up a copy of Cinema 4D, the software that I use now. It was back then, I don't know, it was a very early version, and it was free on the front cover of like a magazine. When they used to put the CDs on the magazine.
This is like back in the like AOL internet days too,
Yeah.
like a little bit beyond that, right? Because
Yeah.
like
So
you got all sorts of cool stuff, and nowadays you're like, man, I wouldn't pop anything random into my machine because who knows? But it was a thing back then.
Yeah.
I was there. I know this.
So I was able to kind of so out of that, I was able to do more. I was kind of getting more involved in doing the 3D stuff, and I kind of like doing interactive stuff. And then so after university, actually got into advertising, because I kind of thought, well, how do I do something creative but make money out of it?
Turns out getting paid is also important sometimes.
Yeah, because when I was at art school, I had a girlfriend at the time who did fine art, and she had paintings, and she had her paintings on the wall, and she sold them. People walked off and they bought the painting, whilst I had some kind of digital pieces that I'd done, but to display them, this was probably the late 90s, like 99, 98. So I had to bring my IBM PC into the art college and have it just set up in the room for people to watch, and had the speakers there and everything. So people were looking at it and they said, oh, very nice, and oh, that's cool, and they walk off, and I thought, how am I ever going to sell this? But it took about 20 years for the technology to be able to actually do that. Because at the time, you're just like, I don't know. Because at the time, it wasn't even like I could upload it to YouTube and then stream it on another machine. It was
right.
Yeah.
So you were indeed very early.
Very early. I did recently actually buy, because I found a CD with that old work on, and I bought a CD-ROM that I could plug into my computer, because obviously none of the computers have them. And I did download the work to see what it looked like, and I thought I might post it on my social, but I watched it and thought, no, I won't bother. But yeah, so I got into advertising, worked at a few ad agencies in London, and kind of used my 3D more. Started a production company with a bunch of other people, so we kind of do 3D and other kind of artwork for agencies. But the problem with that is that you don't always get to do everything totally creative that you want to do, because obviously you're doing what the client wants to do, and it might be they're selling a mobile phone or something like that, and you need to create a load of ads at just the prices, or you can do exciting stuff, but it's rarer than you like it to be. So I started actually creating kind of like daily renders posting them to Instagram, like very simple things. It's been like 2015, 2016. And did that for a few years, and that built up, and then I built up a following from that. And then in early 2020, I got contacted by Nifty Gateway again to see if I wanted to, or if I knew what NFTs were, and if I wanted to get involved and do a drop, basically. And this was at a time when Nifty Gateway had one drop a week.
That was like you said, like early mid 2020, wasn't it? That's when they rolled out, and like I think I was on there and like trying to like wait for that one drop a week and hope that my time like matched up with it,
Yeah.
Like, can I remember?
Yeah. So at the time I wasn't 100% sure what NFTs were, but I got involved and I kind of took it on as like a job, because I was like, I'm not 100% sure what this is. And then it went out there and everything sold. And that was the set of teapots that I did. They're all teapots.
We love the teapots.
Oh, thank you. And I did those because it was like and this is kind of a theme we'll talk about with other drops throughout all the drops I've done, is that that was kind of, because it was in that kind of early pandemic time, I was kind of thinking about home. And that's what we kind of spoke about, I think probably a year or two ago, talking about the tea time one,
yes.
The high tea, because that was like an extension of that, taking that to another level.
And that, and so that's really amazing, being able to see that progression, right? Because this whole journey that you've had the teapots and you've had the bottles and you've had a very consistent type of theme as we followed a lot of the art that you've been bringing, and so then expanding that today actually we've got a little bit different sort of content.
Yes, so I've kind of tried to go with these ones. I wanted to do something kind of almost more graphical that would work even if it was a still, that it was something that could hopefully get the idea across even if you just saw one frame of it. So the one with the heart popping up, that's called Reward Cycle, and I'm just trying to kind of get across that idea of, as an artist, you're posting stuff and you're trying to be on that conveyor belt of like getting stuff out and getting the dopamine hit of getting a like on your work, and that's what you're kind of chasing. Not that that's necessarily healthy.
Right. Well, it is one of those, because then if you post it, you're kind of trying to game the algorithm though, right? Because it's not just about your art. It's about, are you using the proper hashtags? Are you posting at the right time of day? Like, if you're not, like, you could have the most amazing stuff and a great following, but if you're not also doing those things, like, your stuff will get missed. And then how does that reflect on your feelings about it?
Yeah, exactly. I've been kind of, like I said, like posting stuff for years, and over that time, the algorithm has changed and you're trying to game it all the time, but something will pop off and get a ton of views and a ton of likes, and then you'll post something the next day and it doesn't. And you're like, what happened? And you'll do something and think, oh wow, this is, well, I say you do something, I think all of us kind of think that obviously the latest thing we've done is the best thing we've done. So you post it and think, right, this is really gonna fly, and then it doesn't. You're like, what happened? That was kind of like initially where I kind of come up with the idea of like ratio, which is the one with the thumbs up and the thumbs down. That again, that's kind of on a conveyor belt. It's kind of on that wheel of not quite sure where it's going to go or how it's going to go.
That is like that. I feel that for sure, because there are a lot of, especially with a lot of the changes recently to social media, where you're like, this last week would have been good and now it's not. And how wild is that?
Yeah, the whole thing. And Twitter's kind of, you don't know what's going on.
It's broken a little bit.
It's broken. But,
Not even going to take the Twitter numbers personally these days.
yeah. But these, just talking about one of the other pieces, you have the one with all of the little aeroplanes. That one's called Echo Chamber. So obviously we're kind of in this, all of us are in these kind of our own individual echo chambers, because it could be a Web3 one or an NFT one or a political one or even just a normal friendship group, in these chambers of we all like and share and get involved in the same things. And then I think there's a lot of things that, we being in this community think is the most important thing in the world, and then you speak to someone else, they're like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I feel this, right? Like spending so much time in the Web3 space where I'm like super pumped about the stuff that's going on here. And then I talked to my sister about it and she's like you're speaking nonsense.
Yeah, I'm still
She's far less impressed than I am.
I know, I'm still trying to get family members on board. They're still like, I'm not 100% sure what this is all about.
Yeah, one day we'll get there.
Yeah, but and the final piece is the one with the kind of two wheels turning around, which is called Checks and Balances, and that one is kind of inspired by obviously this explosion in checks we've had recently, but then also just trying to get on all of these, I was trying to get a nice, neat sort of simple graphical way of kind of showing the idea I'm trying to get across. So the idea of being verified and unverified, basically, and how that's changed, because obviously now you can pay to be verified. And I think I just signed up to be on the wait list for the Instagram verification.
So yeah, and it's funny because verified now doesn't mean what it used to. Because I totally pay the $10 a month or whatever to have the ability to edit my tweets.
Yes.
Which I don't care about the blue check. I just need to be able to fix my typos because I hastily post things.
Yeah, I do the same thing. But even then, they give you was it half an hour or something, and even then, I won't notice until the half hour has elapsed.
Well, I've tried to trick myself because I have it set to 30-second delay. So when I hit send, it'll take 30 seconds before it even goes when I should be checking it. And then I hit the fast forward button because I don't want to wait for it to send. And then I realize, so I do this to myself.
Okay.
I think I'm giving myself the thumbs down with the socials is what's happening. But these are, and as you mentioned earlier, right? These are amazing, infinite looping, you can just watch them forever. But they're also really nice because you can take stills of them and they look good. And that is a really impressive thing, to be able to create art that looks good both in motion and still.
That's what I was kind of trying to go, because I like doing obviously animated work. I don't really do still static work, but for this set, I thought I want to do something that's kind of bold and graphical, and that even on Twitter in a still or something, you'll be able to see it and get the idea without it even moving. Basically, that was kind of my plan. And then we've got a bunch of different mechanics for how you can get involved or buy or claim. We've got a few different things going on.
These are so fun, and they're so pretty too. The color palette that you've chosen is, they're great neon colors. They're super eye-catching.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I wanted to go bright and bold and kind of keep a color scheme that was kind of across the whole bunch. And when I initially come up with the idea for a few of these pieces was actually originally on my Instagram, maybe last summer. And I created some pieces and they were a bit quicker, and I did actually post them on my Instagram, and you can kind of see if people want to kind of have a look at the Instagram compared to the new ones, you can see that they're oh yeah, so if you go down the
going down,
yeah, we go down the list, there we go, so you can see.
Oh no, it's gonna make me just one moment.
Okay.
Because I'm not logged in on the whale account. So that's probably going to trip us up.
I can share my screen if that helps.
Sure, we can totally share your screen.
Okay.
We'll scroll down here in the meantime. There we go. Brought it up on my Instagram.
Oh, you got it. Yeah, okay, yeah. So you can see with these pieces here, obviously you've got the thumbs up and down and then the +1, but they're a lot simpler. The color scheme's not the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's more orange in this one, I think.
Yeah, I kind of, so the new one with this one, I put a whole like clockwork sort of animation in the center of the conveyor belt. And I just wanted to make them all kind of more coherent.
There we go. So as a side-by-side comparison, let's do that. Maybe.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. So that's fun to be able to see like the progression of your art too, right? Because you said this was last summer, so it's 31 weeks ago.
Right, yeah, okay, yeah,
You've got
about half a year ago.
Extra detail in the gears. Like now is this a face in the gear?
Yeah, so the center of all of them have got smile. They're all smileys now.
as we put forward that smiling face.
Yeah, exactly.
Social,
That was my
course.
feeling about it. That the smiling on through no matter what.
Yes. The chat has commented that the new colors look very on brand with your skull avatar too.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I was kind of going for that as well, going for kind of a brand cohesion.
Nice. Well, success. It has been identified.
Oh, good, good. And then one of the pieces. So the piece that is now the echo chamber piece, the one with the that. If you go to the old Instagram, you can see the one above the football, the bag with the football, see with the green arrow.
Okay.
The big one with the green arrow. That was actually my original take, and I was thinking about upvotes and downvotes on YouTube, because I have a YouTube channel where I do tutorials and stuff, and so I was kind of thinking about that. But then I was thinking this wasn't really hitting. I was thinking this doesn't. I don't know if this people really understand exactly what's going on here. So, but I like the idea of the circular kind of construction, kind of moving around. I wasn't so keen on the colors, so this one was kind of a complete redo, and actually then was kind of had this idea about, oh, we could put this void in the middle where all of these,
and they're going right in there.
Yeah, so all the messages are going around. They're going around. The smiley faces are in each one, and then kind of going in and then coming out again. So they're kind of being recycled in this echo chamber.
Yes, and that's, and it's amazing how, because you've got this one, which, the gears are straight on, so you've tilted them just a little bit, right? So they're not forward facing anymore. They're kind of at a slight angle, and it gives so much extra depth. Like you can tell this one is 3D, but you don't get that as much because you're looking at
Yeah, exactly. You kind of, and that's the thing is that, I used to post stuff on Instagram like every day, and I used to try and do something per day.
It's don't a lot have of work.
Yeah, and I did that before my daughter was born. Once she was born, that was over.
Yes.
But these 3 that I did were just because. So I sometimes I might have more time, so I think, okay, I can think of a set of 3, and maybe within a couple of weeks I'll get a set together. And that's when I did this original set of 3 pieces last year. And sometimes you kind of do something and you think, oh, actually I think I could go back to that. I think I can make more of it. I think I can expand upon it and try and give more of a message and try and actually say something with what I'm doing, rather than like this one. It was like, okay, it looks nice, it's bright, it's got the arrows, and maybe it looks pretty, but it doesn't really does it make sense? Does it say anything? Not really. So that's why I wanted to go back to it, and came up with this version, which is now the NFT.
And that's I think that's really exciting because a lot of people, will see the drop and they will like the art, but they won't understand the evolution of, the art. And the fact that, much like, the social media, you're making this commentary about, like, here you are, like, crafting a message and then recrafting it and kind of making sure that it's going to be presented the way that you want it to and not taken perhaps out of context like the first one.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the thing, is that you want to try and do something that, people are like, oh yeah, I know. I mean, people like the previous one,
Yes.
but it's like you kind of go back to when Makerspace approached me about doing a drop this year. I thought, oh, you know what? I think there's a seed of something within those few that I did. So then I kind of went back, recreated the two that I really liked, and then this one I was like, this one is not working, and I just completely redone it, and then the final one, which is the checks and balances one, that was a completely brand new one.
So this
the
this
U one, and
there we go.
That one, so that one didn't exist at all. And this one is actually I guess the interesting thing is about this drop is that we've got 4 pieces in total. 3 of them are editions of 3, where editions 1 and 2 are kind of like a fixed price, and then the 3rd edition will actually come with an infinite objects screen.
Oh my gosh! So
because the 3rd one is going to be
a raffle,
like that. Yeah, you get one of those. The 3rd one will be auctioned basically, and you get one of these. But for this one, checks and balances, if anyone owns any of my pieces on Makerspace, on Monday we're going to be doing a snapshot of all the wallets, and then what I will do is add that onto, because all these were, the thing I've missed out something big as well is that all these have been minted on Manifold. Is they're all on my own contract.
Oh, how fun!
So it's through Makerspace, but it's all through my own Manifold contract.
Now, how exciting is that to be able to do it on your own contract nowadays?
Yeah, I kind of signed up with Manifold quite a while ago and kind of started playing around with it, and I think the only things I've minted so far are my icon, so that on Twitter it's an NFT. But I haven't actually used it to sell anything yet. I haven't used it to go and put anywhere. So when I saw that Makerspace were integrating Manifold into Makerspace, that's when I thought, oh, I want to get involved with this. I think this would be the opportunity to kind of bring all these things together. And then the additional thing with that is that I'd never created any like physical pieces before. So that's why I got in touch with Infinite Objects and wanted to come up with these kind of custom screens for each of these.
And these are so fun, right? Because this takes us back to that story where you're like, oh, well, I had to lug my laptop or, my big desktop at the time.
Yeah.
To the art room to show people my art. And now you're like, oh, I've got this, 5x7 screen or whatever it is.
Yeah. And I have a few of them from other artists that I've bought. But I kind of thought these pieces would work for this. I'm actually going to buy a couple myself.
Like, so fun
to put on my desk, because I've just, I just wanted to do something that I thought looked cool. And, I think these animations will work as an infinite, because obviously they're an infinite looping thing. It's the best kind of thing for these screens. But I went off track. Sorry. So the point is,
no, this is totally on track, because this is exciting.
Oh, okay, cool.
Seeing you be excited about it is, I think, really encouraging for the people who are also collecting your art, because there's really nothing cooler than seeing someone genuinely excited about stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited about it, because I just feel like I've kind of like got a cohesion of things that have come together that I like about this. I like the pieces, I like the screens. And then having my own Manifold contract as well that I've created for this. It's called an Antisocial one. I was even pleased with my the little ASCII art I did. I posted that on Twitter last week. But yeah, if anyone owns a piece of mine on Makersplace, it doesn't matter if it's from a drop or any of the single pieces that I minted like years ago, then we'll take the snapshot, and then you'll be entered, and then I will take all those wallet addresses and put that into this manifold page, so that you're basically on a whitelist. So then you can go on there and claim one of these pieces, and that will be for free. You just have to pay the gas, I guess, depending on what that is on the day. But I'm going to leave it so it's a week to make the claim, so you can wait.
You have some time to watch the gas prices.
Yeah, exactly.
Do it in the middle of the night.
Yeah, yeah. And then, but the more pieces of mine that you own, the more you can claim. So if you own 2 of mine, you can claim 2 of these. And then what we'll do is, once the claim's finished, then I'll put all those the addition numbers into a random generator, and one person will win that screen.
Nice.
So you'll win that, and then I think if you're out, I think we're going to kind of pay for postage if it's in the States. But then if it's outside of the States, then we're going to have to work something out.
You have to. So this is a really cool thing, and we should talk about this, because Makerspace, like having physical things to go with your NFTs nowadays, like I know they've been calling it phygital, and people have some mixed feelings about that. But it just as a name, like it feels a little funny. We talk about this in our Monday collector culture space. We're like, like I don't know, but there's not a better name, so here we are adopting it. But like this is neat because you've got art, and then you can see your art, and you have this thing that links them together. This proof of ownership with the actual piece. Like I just got from Lupidia a negative of Tupac from a photograph, and I'm like, how cool is that? Like I have a picture in my NFT collection, but I also have this physical thing, and like that's mind-blowing. So this, like, you can now have a video of your NFT. Like that is huge.
Yeah, and we'll I've kind of set it up so that we'll put actually on this mock-up. I've actually changed it since then. I was going to call this one, because it was for this collector's edition, I was just going to call it collector's edition, but I've actually changed it now in the mock-up, in the final artwork, so that we'll actually write in the actual edition number that you purchased on there. So it will be edition 100 of 200 or whatever it's going to be. It depends how many people make the claim. The only PSA is that you need to make sure that your personal wallet is connected to your Makerspace account.
Gotcha.
Because if it's in like the because a lot of the older pieces are in like custodial wallet, before people were connecting their personal wallets, and if it's in that, then it when we do the snapshot, it won't get picked up.
Gotcha. So I have to make sure. I think I'm gonna have to make sure my ledger is hooked up, I suppose. Delegate it, because I've sent all of your art to the safekeeping.
Oh, okay. I see.
I'll get it sorted. I will get it sorted.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I guess the other thing is, there's going to be strange things like that where I'm going to need to say, well, you can drop me an email.
I'm sure there are ways to do it with wallet delegation nowadays.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, what will happen is, once we do the snapshot, what I'll basically be doing is getting an Excel spreadsheet of all the wallets, how many editions you own or how many pieces you own, and then I upload that into Manifold, so that when you connect your wallet, it will allow you to mint 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces, and then obviously the more pieces you've been able to mint, as well as you've been able to keep them or share them with your friends or do whatever you would like with them,
it increases your odds for the
it increases your odds. You get more, so they're more like more raffle tickets.
Which is interesting, because on the one hand, you'd want more raffle tickets, but on the other hand, the more you mint, the less rare it is. So you're leaving that in the hands of collectors. How curious.
That's true. That is true. Yeah. Well, maybe that's the checks and balances that the collectors are keeping.
How very appropriate, Perry.
Yeah. Maybe I thought that all along.
Yes. We've now seen the slightly diabolical side where we watch the social engineering happening through the antisocial drop. I like it. I like it.
But it's going to be interesting because this is the sort of thing I've not done before. There's more involved in the back end. Me working with the Makerspace team, they've been doing a lot, working with Infinite Objects to get these kind of pieces set up. There's kind of a lot of moving parts. So, and I think I've kind of avoided that in the past because it's a lot of work.
I think we're at the stage where it's go big or go home, right? So you are doing that.
Yeah, I just feel like, this was kind of this kind of all felt like right. This kind of felt right for this collection, and I kind of like with the Infinite Object pieces, like the ones that I own, the ones that are kind of more, a locked off piece of artwork and something's happening within it, rather than a whole moving thing, because can become like too distracting to me,
Right. Yeah, well, it's one of those things where if it's, not a short loop, which is what you've created, are these short loops, then you have to like watch for a while. Otherwise, you don't gain the full picture, right? And then you like miss part of the story. But these are, tight loops where like I can know what's happening, within the first couple seconds. And I could just like watch it for hours and be completely mesmerized because I don't have to think about it. I could just watch it, which is great.
So I'm really looking forward to people hopefully getting hold of these, and like I said, I'm gonna get some just made up just for myself outside of this drop, just because I really want them.
Yes, these are so fun. I love it. And these, as an interesting side note too, if we click on one, we'll wait for it to load, but they actually have audio.
Oh yeah, they have audio too.
They have audio, which I don't think Infinite Objects do audio, but
no, Infinite doesn't do audio. It's just visuals only. They have no buttons or anything on them, so I don't know if people don't know what kind of. I'll bring out one just that's like at random. I'm not sure what this one is. Oh, this one was run out of battery, but this was an Alex Solis piece. Don't know if you know his work, but yeah, when you get these, they're usually charged up, and actually, as you take them out of the box, they turn on.
Ooh.
Yeah, they turn on like straight away, and then they've got just one little plug in the back, and that's it. There's no buttons, nothing.
Huh.
And you can just kind of stand them up on your desk.
How cool is that?
Yeah. So the ones that we've created for this drop, they have like a full kind of front border, which is kind of the gradient color, and then on the back we've got kind of the stripes, and then in the center we've got kind of like my icon, and you see there like the name of the whole project, and the piece, etc. So yeah, and it's got a little hologram on it and stuff. Yes, they're cool. They're cool. I've got a few of them, and I really like them.
Gonna need full walls to display all of our Infinite Objects.
Well, I haven't got enough. You know what? I moved house last year, and I've got this office, and all the walls are windows.
Oh no! Oh no! We're actually in the process of moving. I'll be moving next month, and so I'm looking forward to more walls because I've run out of space, and I need to be able to display things like this.
Yes, exactly. That's why. Yeah, that's what I need. I need more shelving. I've got to work something out. What I need to work out for the Infinite Objects is what I usually do is actually have them kind of up on my computer, like on top of them, but I'm just trying to. I'm working with minimal space in here. So I've got to come up with a solution.
Find a way to suspend them, perhaps.
Yeah, well, I know I've been involved with Crypt Gallery. They have a couple of gallery spaces, one in New York and one in in Los Angeles at the Dream Hotel,
Hmm.
and they created a wall of infinite objects at one of those, and they look pretty cool. There's a few of my Makerspace pieces are in there. A few of maybe a couple of bottles from Nifty Gateway, a few cans I did on Makerspace. King of Midtown, he's the guy that runs the crypt with Varsia, and they included some of my pieces because I think mine was some of the first that he bought on Makerspace. So it's kind of cool to be there in Los Angeles all the time.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh. We're going to need more of these. Let's start spotting around this place, because I know that, people are at the NFT LA stuff, this week, or I forgot what they've changed the name to because I'm clearly behind the times. But, people are out there, so they're, maybe experiencing this. Send
Yeah,
pictures
they
if
had
you
an
see it.
event last night, actually. They had an event last night. And I think they're having an event in New York for NFT NYC. And I'm, touch wood, depending on childcare, I'm just kind of finalizing that. I'm hoping to be going myself in mid-April.
Fingers crossed. And so that's another cool thing, right, about the Web3 spaces here. You are creating art and making really awesome things that people love, and then they can go to events and meet you. And that, before, I don't know that I've ever collected art that I can meet the artist,
Whether that's a good thing or not, I don't know.
Oh, it's a
if
good
they
thing.
like that.
It's a good thing. It's exciting because, being able to appreciate art is awesome. That's what I love about actually going to just downtown art shows during the summer. You have an art fair and people set up their booths, and
Yeah.
we're getting to the point where you can do that with the Web3 space, right?
Yeah.
How fun.
Yeah, definitely. It was like when I went to NFT NYC last year, it was like really cool to meet up with all these other artists and meet collectors that all you know is their icon, So I think I actually I had some badges made of my icon, the skull.
That
So
way people would
would
know
who I am, because someone suggested I should put a one of those tags on inside the badge so people can tap it and then get my they can get my details on their phone
just
or
make
whatever.
for hoodies.
Yeah, or that. Yeah,
Your own merch.
I would love to. Yeah, I've got the bag. I've got a bag. I've got one bag.
I say this as a person who has Rude Moose hoodies. So
Oh right, okay.
This is a thing.
Okay.
I can wear it, and that way people will know who I am, I suppose.
Well, I definitely would be up for that. Maybe some baseball caps. That would be cool.
You'd have your skull. It would look really neat.
Yeah, it would. I'm going to go spend more money now.
I'm a terrible influence, but you've got these, and so let's talk about the drop, because I know we've only got about 10 minutes, but you've got this drop going on. So speaking of people spending money, they can be buying your art, and they're for sale, and there was already a pre-sale.
Yes,
where you're half sold out, aren't you?
Apparently, yes. So there was for anyone that's already collected my work, there was a pre-sale that started at 1:00 today, and I think we've already sold like 50% of the pieces, I believe. So we'll see what happens overnight, and then the public sale will start tomorrow at 1:00. If people want to get involved in the pre-sale, they can. I've spoken to Makerspace. They said if they buy any one of my pieces today, they can get on the pre-sale. And then it goes live tomorrow. But 3 of the pieces, the edition 3 of each of the 3 main pieces are auctions. So it'll just depend. Obviously the auctions are going to run. Once they kick off, they're going to run over today, tomorrow anyway, so that won't make any difference. But it's for those editions 1 and 2. They are in, a few of those have gone already.
Will that be one of those 24-hour auction formats where
I think so. I think there's
and it increases at the end to 15 minutes or something.
Yeah. But the auction pieces, once it hits a reserve, then the auction goes off, and the winners of each of those auctions get one of the screens. That's included. Whilst editions 1 and 2, you buy the NFT only, and then you get the option to buy the screen if you would like.
Oh, nice.
But that's the thing that we're doing. And I kind of spoke with Infinite Objects. I'm kind of doing it at the cost that it is to make, basically.
Mm-hmm. That's so fun. So you have, multiple options if you're looking at these. We'll look at the like ratio as an example. So there's a reserve price. I'm not logged in, so
so this one, edition 1 and 2 have already sold.
And so this is just the 3, which is, got that auction that we're kicking off. But the edition 3 will be the one that automatically comes with the Infinite Object. So
that will automatically. I think they've put some little images on the left next to
the left. There it is.
There you go. So you can see what the screens are going to look like.
Oh, we get your signature too. Fancy. There we are. Look at that. So
each of them, each of them, the border is kind of a gradient that I've taken from kind of the overall color scheme of that piece. So each of the borders are different, so one's more blue, one's more pink, one,
Wow. How fun. I didn't realize the Infinite Objects were so customizable like that.
Yeah. You can see that this one's got
more blue.
Yeah. And this one, I kind of like the fact I tried to kind of have most of it blue, and then to really kind of highlight on the +1, the heart that's in there.
It's so good. And this one, I like the music on this one because it's like a little bit less gear and a little bit more like something exciting's happening because they're hearts. I feel it.
So with the music, I'm not a musician myself, and I usually go to a sound studio in London that I've worked with a lot. But for this one, I decided to do it myself. Kind of got kind of like samples and licensed music that I could, use, get the license for, but then kind of really strip it back to not this big. I didn't want like a big song. I wanted to just strip it back to like the basics, and then like a beat or like a slight little bit of a tune, and then add in all the sound effects on top of that to kind of create more to create a mood rather than to have a song,
And they are definitely a mood, because you get that, kind of grindy, which social media is totally grindy. Let's be real, it does.
Yeah, I didn't want people to think from this I was being like anti-social media, as in antisocial. It's kind of more like, does social media make me antisocial?
Sometimes. Luckily, it's something that I can step away from.
Yeah, exactly.
You get this one too, which has a little bit different audio too, a little bit more noise in this one.
Yeah, well, this one, I kind of was thinking about the actual the sound of the echo chamber.
Yes. I think you've captured that for sure.
Yeah, the kind of reverberations that you kind of hear.
Yeah. How fun. Let's check out the, there we go. Checks and balances too.
Oh yeah, so this one's actually on the manifold page.
This has got like a beat to it.
Yeah. This one, I kind of like the kind of churn. Like the original idea I got for this piece was I was kind of looking at these perpetual motion machines where you have the interaction between one thing rotating with another thing rotating, and then the motion of the actual checks and crosses that you kind of see. They kind of go in a figure eight.
Up top. Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking of for my initial thought was I was looking at these candy pulling machines,
like
those candy ones. So I was watching videos of that and thinking, what's the actual motion? I think they're doing like a figure eight. I think that's what they're doing. So what I was trying to do was get that satisfying connection of them, crossing in the middle there, and not hitting each other.
And they are too, because like you get that stress right here where you're like, are they going to hit? And they
Yeah,
don't.
exactly.
And every time you still feel it a little, like you know they're not going to, but you
Yeah.
still feel that.
And so I really, I was kind of really happy with it, how this one turned out. I kind of wanted to. It's kind of sometimes it's difficult to come up with something simple. Sometimes, like to try and get across an idea in a simple way, in a clean way. Like when I originally came up with this idea, I kind of came up with a name first, and then thought, like, how am I going to visualize that? And originally I was thinking of doing it like Connect Four, the game, and having the checks like a Connect Four and having them flip or light up or spin. But then it kind of didn't seem to match, and I kind of like the idea that all these are kind of floating pieces, like they're all floating in a space.
Yeah, they're like floating and they're cyclical. And
yeah, exactly. So I didn't want to kind of block it all off in a big square. So then I was looking into these perpetual motion machines, and that's how I ended up coming up with this, thinking, oh, okay, what I could do is have these rollers that come around, and that's what kind of rotates them and turns them. And I was pretty neat. I was really pleased with it. I had a beer after I did this. I was like, yeah, I think that looks cool.
nice. And it does look cool. Oh my goodness.
So you'll see on here, it says, so this page is going to get updated. It says total minted 0 of 100. That's kind of an arbitrary number that I've put in for the moment, because once we do the snapshot, then I'll know how many the maximum is. It might be 20, because it depends how many people have their wallets connected, how many people are, I was minting pieces on Makerspace, like you say, like 2-3 years ago.
Right.
So there's some people that might just not be in the space anymore.
And we've seen some of that for sure.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see like what number we get there, and then after we do the snapshot, we'll have the total in there, and then say if you own one piece, you'll be able to mint one piece on here. But then obviously we'll see who's engaged and who will come across and mint, and so the final numbers we're not going to know until it's finished.
Oh my goodness. So that'll be really exciting. You said, was it Monday?
Yeah, so Monday at I think it's at 6 p.m. Let me have a look. I did do a little cheat sheet for myself. 6 p.m. Monday. So if people buy, part of that reason is that we want to obviously include people that purchase pieces in this drop as well. Yeah. So we're going to wait until Monday, then we'll do the snapshot.
Oh, fun.
And then it will be open until, let me check, 1 p.m. on Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, so it'll be open for 5 days.
That'll be exciting.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see. I think once you've minted on here, I think it goes into your wallet and goes back to, I'm not 100% sure if it goes into your private wallet or it goes back to Makersplace, but you'll have it. You'll have that token. And then, I'll be able to, do future things like this where I can reach out to those collectors that have got involved with this,
Mm. How fun. I love that you have that extra functionality built in now, so that way you can really enhance the experience for your collectors. This is exciting stuff.
Yeah, I think there's kind of a lot of, no pun intended, a lot of moving parts.
We love the puns here. We live for the puns.
Pun intended. There's a lot of moving parts.
Perfect. Perfect. Oh my goodness. And so I see that we have the links in the Discord to make sure people can see where they should be going for your Antisocial drop. We can also have your Makersplace page if people want to check out your other work. But right now we are super, super excited about Antisocial. And we'll pull that up so that way we can get there. And, as was mentioned in the Discord, people could sneak into the pre-sale now.
Yes.
Before everything, opens up tomorrow with that auction. So
definitely. And yeah, I think it's nearly 2 years since I did my last solo drop on here. And yeah, like I said, there's just been the two collaborations that we've had between then and now. I don't know why I haven't done so many on Makerspace, but it's kind of there was all the stars aligned for this one. I kind of love the integration of Manifold into this, and the inclusion of infinite objects, and Makerspace kind of doing this emphasis on fidgetable
Yes.
pieces. So all of those things kind of came together and made me want to get involved and try something. It's kind of exciting to try something new.
Perfect. Yeah, it's definitely exciting to see all of these extra steps that Makerspace has been taking to really engage the audiences and get people excited about NFTs in new ways. So
Yeah, definitely, and it's sort of, in a way, maybe it's going to help get in more of the mass market. Like, if I was able to give one of these pieces to my mum, she'll be like, "Oh, that's really cool." Like, she'll probably understand it more.
yes. My mom, that actually worked because I got these murals that I could put on the wall and then put my NFTs on playlists,
Yeah.
and that's when it clicked for my mom, because she's like, "Oh, it's on the wall, it's art." And I'm like, it's always been art. But yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly.
Yes. Well, I bought one of those Samsung frames. I don't know if that's the similar sort of thing that
Yeah, I
you
think it
have.
is similar.
Yeah. And I mean, that comes with like an app to have obviously old paintings and all sorts on there. But kind of at first, I think my wife thought it was kind of a gimmick, but we have it on all the time, And then, like I said, we said before this, my daughter loves like the high tea drop that I did with
Yes,
Reed.
it's such a good drop.
Yeah, she's obsessed with that. So I kind of feel like in future, Reed and I have to get together and well, we're planning. We keep talking about it. We've got an idea of what we want to do. It's just time,
It's
doing.
funny how time works here. Like,
Yeah.
it's wild.
Yeah, it seems to just fly,
It does.
But when we have time, it's something that we'd really like to kind of do, to expand on that kind of little thing that we created. We kind of thought it was like a cool kind of use of both of our talents put together.
It definitely was. It's still one of my favorite pieces of all
Thank
of
you.
the NFTs I have, and there are a lot of them. But
Thank you. Well, it means you can take part in the giveaway, the claim.
I'm prepared. So prepared. Well, very good. I know we're a little bit over, and I don't want to hold you. I know you've got stuff going on, but thank you so much, Perry, for joining today and telling us more about what you've been up to and about your antisocial drop, because this is super exciting.
Thank
Being
you.
able to see how excited you are about it. Like, that, I think, really is the coolest part, to be honest. And having Makerspace here to support and, make sure that the community is, finding new ways to be excited about NFTs as well. So,
yeah, I think there's kind of a lot of, we've tried to put a few different mechanics into this, and, it's kind of what's, got me excited about it, and hopefully other people, kind of like that as well.
yes, I'm excited. So we've got at least 2 so far. The audience in the chat is also excited.
Well, a few
So
pieces have sold already, so
yeah, see?
that's great. The that's kind of a new thing that I think Makerspace are doing. It kind of rewards collectors, previous collectors as well, and it kind of helps buffer it for the artists as well, I think, because I've done quite a few drops now across some different marketplaces, and they are high anxiety times.
I believe it. I believe it. Like, it's one of I recently, because we're getting ready to move, so we had listed our house for sale, which is not an NFT, right? But like, I've sold NFTs, and I'm like, man, this is like worse, because you have to wait, right? So the same deal. Like, you're like, I mean, just hope that something happens here, and I believe
Well,
in my things, but does everybody else? I guess we'll see.
yeah, it's kind of like like we're talking about here, like with social media, you put your work out there and see if anyone likes it. It's like that, like ramped up.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Well, you're doing good and you've got a head start. So,
Yeah, that's good. That's kind of made me feel more, comfortable about things. It's nice to be able to do things like this and to chat to people about it beforehand, and try and get the message out there and see what people think of it.
yes. Well, so far it looks like the reception has been very positive, and best of luck tomorrow when the auctions go live. I
Thank
know
you.
people are going to be keeping an eye on those, and obviously Monday when this raffle kicks off with the minting and then the infinite objects, like having those in people's houses, I think is super awesome. So,
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool to kind of have, someone actually have a physical piece of
right.
mine in their house. It's pretty cool.
It's like a new, like, look, mom, I made it step.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. All right, Perry. Well, again, thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you.
I'm not going to take up any more of your time, but we really, really appreciate you coming and sharing with us because this is always an exciting thing to chat about and great to see you again. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Makerspace. Thank you, Whale Community, for tuning in and hearing more about what Perry is working on, which is all fun stuff in an antisocial sort of way. We'll keep up with you again. Keep an eye on the drop.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of your day, everybody. We will see you online.
Bye.